Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer. Today we're going to be starting a brand new series which I'm calling the Mainline. It's a free play series based on a map that I've just created just for a little bit of fun. It's not based on anywhere real, it is a UK based build, so we're going to have UK vehicles eventually, and we're driving on the left hand side. We've got UK place names, but it's not based on any real location. We're just kind of having a little bit of a free play. We are playing with money as well, so it's not sandbox mode, so we are going to have to think about how we can generate money, which is going to be the theme for today's first video. I thought what I'd do, it's not quite a tutorial, but I'd just show you how you can make money if you're starting in a later time period, because I'd like to start in the year 2000, because I just don't like people messing around with older vehicles, if I'm perfectly honest. But it does make our lives a little bit more tricky because everything costs more, because obviously inflation is simulated in the game, so as the years progress vehicles and infrastructure gets more expensive and operating costs get more expensive, so it does make your life a little bit harder in the early days if you're starting, you know, later on. But it is possible to make money, and hopefully that's what we're going to do in today's episode. So I'm going to load a game. I've already got all of my mods set up basically. I haven't done a mods list yet, but I probably will do at some point for this series, all the mods that I'm going to be using. We're going to be doing, what are we going to be playing with? Cargo types, up to 4 cargoes. Yeah, that's why not. Industry closure rate, rarely. Yeah, don't really want many industries to be closing. I've done a little bit of decoration around the industries to make it look a little bit nicer. Industry density rate target, we'll go for high, I guess, and we will keep it at that. Keep it nice and simple. So here we are. This is the new map that I've created. It's not particularly anything special. It's just I've just gone for basically whatever the game gave me in terms of terrain. It's not particularly hilly. There's a few hills here and there and a nice river. So basically the Mainline title comes from the fact that I want to have a main line running down this river channel here all the way to the top of the map. So I want all the lines trying to feed into the main line. I think Colonel Failure probably has done something similar, but he's not currently doing a mainline series at the minute, so I feel it's all right to do that, with Liverpool being the best city in Britain as our capital city just there, and then we've just got kind of random town names all over the place. I haven't gone for anything in particular other than Liverpool, and obviously you can see here I've done a little bit of detailing. I will be sharing this map on the Steam Workshop if you want to try and have a go at it. Like I said, nothing special, but just a few nice little details like the quarries and things like that and the farms, just to make it look a little bit interesting. I'm using Morning Mod as well, which just completely transforms the look of the map and the game. Right, so that's a little bit about the map. I think we just want to dive straight in and we want to start making some money. Now, I have done my little bit of recceing already to see what sort of opportunities we have, which is kind of my first top tip before you dive in and start kind of putting routes on and things and deciding what you're going to do. You just want to look around the map. You want to identify the closest kind of point-to-point locations, like the sources, the generators, which are like the farms and the quarries, and then the processors are like the food factories and the steel mills and things like that. You want to identify some which are nice and close together, and then in addition to that, you want to find a town that will actually accept the things that you're trying to produce in the first place. It is possible to earn money just by having, say, let's just say you're supplying fuel or oil to a refinery. I think it's possible to just have that one supply chain, but the bigger profits come from when you actually close the supply chain. So we have the complete supply chain, so you're supplying oil to the refinery to the petrol refinery, and then the petrol fuel to the place that consumes the fuel. So you're closing that supply chain. That's when the biggest profits are made. So with that in mind, I've already done my little bit of a recce around this map, and I think I've identified a nice location where I can get a nice closed supply chain. So we've got a farm here, and we've got a food processor just here, which is nice and close, and then we've got Knaresborough, which accepts food, and I think there's somewhere else. We've got Winsford, Mansfield accepts food as well. So we've got quite a few places relatively close that all accept food, which is good because to keep our costs as low as possible, firstly, we want to build as little infrastructure as possible, so roads and depots and things like that. And also we need the fewest vehicles possible as well in order to just to keep the cost down, because although we've got £5 million, because we're starting in the year 2000, everything's really expensive, which you'll see in a minute. So we've got this Whaley Bridge farm here. Just want to put on a vehicle cargo depot. So one of these, nothing particularly fancy, 30 meters long, only needs one platform because it's just going to have trucks coming in, like going in and straight out again. So we haven't got any issues with regards to that. And then we're just going to plonk that down. It's really expensive. You can see that $115,000 already spent just on that depot. We haven't even built anything else yet. Right, so as you can see, there's no road or automatically being generated to connect it to any of the other roads, which is a little bit of an issue. So we're going to have to build our own road. Again, we just want to keep things as cheap as physically possible. Just want to get a bit of a road in here. I am using, I think it's the UK roads. So they might look slightly different, but we do have this, which is that one. This asphalt 2-lane narrow country road has a top speed of 40 miles per hour. And we have this one here, the dirt 2-lane country road. Now, with roads and things like that, if you haven't played the game before, or if you didn't know this already, if you decide, you've got a setting here, if you click player ownership, yes, you will own that road. And what that will mean is the game can't do anything. The AI can't decide it's going to downgrade or upgrade or whatever, build alongside that road. But it does mean that you're going to have to pay for its upkeep. So to begin with, I would set that to no, player ownership no, and just build all your roads. So basically what this means is the council, or whoever maintains the roads for the cities is maintaining the roads for you, and that way you don't have to pay for them, even if you've built those roads in the first place. So it's the early days. I would suggest this even when you start kind of earlier on in the 1850s even. Just don't own the roads because you have to pay for them. Even if you're upgrading, or especially if you're upgrading, don't take ownership, and just to try to build as little as you can, because as you can see, we're going to be spending quite a lot of money on this road. Just want to try and build small little sections so you don't have huge earthworks, because obviously the more earthworks you have, the more expensive the road is. It would be nice just to whack in a great straight road like so, but you will end up with earthworks, which just all adds to the cost. So we've spent quite a bit of money already. You probably want to go up and over that hill into that dirt road just there like so, and then this road's going to feed in to this food processing plant here. So we're going to put another building on. This time we want 2 platforms. We'll chuck it on about here. We want to leave ourselves a little bit of room to extend these if we need to, and then just place that in something a bit like that. I've got 2 platforms because we're going to have incoming products from the farm, and then we're going to have outgoing products going to wherever they're being sold. So that's all set up. Next thing we're going to need is a depot. We want to build as few of these as possible, again because you have to pay for their regular upkeep, and obviously £15,000 a pop early on, that's they're not really expensive, but it can add up if you're just placing loads of these. So as few of those as you possibly can get away with would be the best ideal situation. Next, we're just going to chuck on a route. So we've got this to here and then that to there. Nothing particularly complicated. Going to have my naming convention. I've already decided upon this, I think. So we're going to have a cargo, and then this is going to be grain, and then it's going to be wherever it's going, Edinburgh to Bristol. So anything that's cargo related will have a cargo name like so. Nothing particularly complicated about that. So that's all set up. Unpause the game, and then we're going to buy ourselves some trucks. Now this is where things start to get really expensive because we're starting so late in the year. I do have some modded trucks which I will upgrade to later, but because this is sort of a mini tutorial, I'm going to stick with vanilla vehicles just for now, just so you can see it is possible to make money. It's just, there's not a huge difference other than the capacity. So this has a capacity of 25, whereas this, for example, has a capacity of 32. So we're just going to build a few of these. Now let's just see how much these are. £767,000 each, or dollars or whatever. So we're not going to be able to afford very many of these. We're probably going to build buy three rather, like so. And then we may as well colour them with the line colour. Let's change the line colour to something more grain-ish. And then we'll go back to the depot, and then we'll just schedule these. I'm going to put the game on 4x speed. I think I'm going to turn the date speed down to a quarter, and then I'm just going to try and unbunch these vehicles a little bit manually. So that's why I'm doing 4x speed. We're just going to wait for him to get to his location. Just means that the vehicles will be going out as full as possible, so we're making money as quickly as possible, because if you set them all out together, there's likely that the two behind this would have nothing in them basically. So we're just going to do this. How much grain? We've got quite a lot of grain here already. Not a big issue, don't need to worry too much. And we'll just wait for this truck to reach this cargo depot before we launch the final truck. Well, it's not going to be the final truck, it's the final truck that we've got at the minute, but we will be putting more trucks on this route very shortly as soon as we've got the money. But you can see here already we've spent over half of the money that we've had, and we've only put one route on. So we do need this route to earn lots of money. So let's chuck him on. You can see here already the farm is starting to produce quite a lot of product, which is all good, which is all starting to rack up here. Next thing we want to do is, just before we do anything else, is on the route. So this is, actually I want to change the name of this to Edinburgh Farm and this to Bristol. So that's just renaming the cargo depots, just so I know where they are. And that's, yeah, that's not quite right, is it? Let's try that again. Good, so what we were actually doing is on the farm, we can see Edinburgh Farm East. We want to do our departure collection, so we want to do full load any. I think the minimum stop time we'll do 30, and then the maximum we'll do is 60. So basically what that means is the truck will wait there for at least 30 seconds, and we'll wait for a maximum of 60 seconds unless it's full. So if it fills up before the maximum stop time, it will depart anyway. But if it doesn't fill up in that time, it'll wait till 60 seconds and then it will just take the load that it's got, which is quite important because you want your vehicles to be taking as much as physically possible in terms of cargo. I would suggest, we're losing product, I'll talk about that in a minute. I would suggest your trucks need to be, I'd say at least the very minimum 50% full, but 75% full is when you're going to start making profit. So you need to find an equilibrium between making sure you're shifting enough product but not running trucks that are running empty, because they're just loss-making trucks basically. And you can see here we are producing too much stuff here. We're starting, you've got this exclamation, we are starting to lose material. So basically anything that's being produced here is being dumped. So what we want to do is upgrade this. So we're going to configure and then we're going to put on a platform, a cargo platform. It's quite costly. You can see there each one costing $30,000, pounds, whatever. And yeah, it is expensive, but it just stops us from losing any product. You can see there it's not being dumped anymore. I mean, this won't be a problem once we start to introduce more trucks, but for now, I just want to try and keep the number of trucks as low as possible. Good. Build some new things there. Good. Right. So we've still got a bit of money in the bank, so I think we can introduce another truck. So we're going to buy another vehicle. I think it was that bottom yellow there, wasn't it? And then we're going to put that on that route there. So basically what you want to do is you want to just put on trucks. Obviously you don't want to buy loads of trucks because we can't afford to, but you want to put on enough trucks though that we're constantly taking away whatever's being produced here. But like I said before, we don't want to be putting on so many trucks that they start to run empty, so you need to find that equilibrium early on. Let's just see how this route's doing. You can see here we're already making £500,000 a year from these trucks, so we are starting to make money already. This is probably one of the simplest ways to make money, if I'm honest. It's just chucking trucks on I would probably suggest a food production run, because it's the simplest supply chain, because you're just supplying grain to the food processor. Yeah, we're still producing plenty of stuff there, so I think I'm going to go for one more truck on this. Not bothering with the maintenance because I'm going to be replacing these trucks very soon, so I'm going to chuck that on there. Possibly we'll probably need another 1 or 2 trucks, but for now I think we'll just leave that as is. We'll leave these trucks going out nice and full, because obviously the more stuff a truck is carrying, the more money it's making for us. So I'm going to leave that as is. Right, so to complete this supply chain, we want to take the food that's being produced here, and we want to take it to somewhere that's actually going to purchase the food, which is Knaresborough currently. And if we look at the overlay, you can see here, these are the commercial buildings. These require the food, and we're going to be putting down a drop-off point. So we don't need to build a depot, because vehicles are just literally dropping off an unload point. So we can build one of these, keeping things nice and cheap. And we want to pay attention to the white. So if you look at these buildings being illuminated in white, that means this drop-off thing that I'm trying to place actually covers the area that I want it to. So it will drop off the product at all of these commercial buildings that we need to supply, and basically maximizes the amount of product that we can actually ship by reaching the maximum number of buildings all in one go. Okie dokie, so we've placed that down. We're going to close this supply chain now. We're going to add another route. So we're going to go from the factory to the drop-off point, which was in Knaresborough, like that. Nice and straightforward. And then we'll do our naming convention, food this time, and then this is Bristol to Knaresborough, and we'll have this in a Tesco dark blue, like so. Good, right, so we want to put a truck on this. We're going to buy a vehicle. We're going to buy just one for now, I think. We'll do it in the dark blue, and then we'll put it on our cargo Bristol to Knaresborough route. Now this might take a little bit more time to actually kick into gear than the actual farm did. The farm, as soon as trucks started arriving, started to produce grain or whatever it is, which is all good, but I think the food processes and the processes in general take a little bit more time. I think we just want to edit this route as well, don't we? So we want our load full, if any, and then minimum stop time of 30 seconds, maximum stop time of 60 seconds. Like so. So yeah, you want your vehicles, your trucks to be going out full, but at the same time you don't want them to be waiting in the depot for ages, because that just causes backlogs and issues and things like that. So you just want to make sure you've got a balance between getting the trucks, the throughput of the trucks, and making sure the trucks are going out with a decent cargo. And you can see there that isn't going to have any sort of decent cargo to begin with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on him until he gets to Knaresborough, and then I'm going to put on another truck, which we can afford just about. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on him. As soon as he gets to Knaresborough, we'll put on another truck, and we are starting to spend money quite quickly now. But how are we doing in terms of profit? Well, yeah, we're not doing too bad. I think we need another truck for this route, definitely, because we're starting to dump product again, but we can't afford one just yet. So yeah, just keeping an eye on him, waiting for him to get to the town. Yeah, the unbunching bit can be quite important, because obviously it just all plays into the fact that you need your trucks to be as full as possible. If you had a big queue of trucks, then obviously there wouldn't be as much product being provided. I think, yeah, we can start to release him now onto that route. I did put him on the right route, didn't I? Yes. Good. I think, how much money have we got? I think we almost have enough money for another truck. Let's just take a look. Yeah, we are. We're still dumping, so we need to put on another truck. Just wait until we've got enough money. This is the thing with starting so late in the game. Things do, you start with the same amount of base money, but everything just costs so much more, and we can afford one of those. Chuck it in the yellow colour, put it on that route. I would wait a little bit before putting more trucks on. You know, I wouldn't rush out and say, well, there's loads of stuff here so we can put 3 trucks on, because you will find that stuff will start to be moved very quickly. So I would just kind of, one at a time, put on a truck just until your equilibrium has been achieved. Right, so we're starting to produce a bit of food here, which isn't too bad, but I'm going to leave it as just the 2 for now. The only other issue is this road appears to be very, very slow. Can I take... Oh, you can't see the speed of roads. I think if I just look at this, these trucks are only doing 25 miles per hour. So another thing, in order to maximize your profits, is basically, this is true for cargo and passengers. You want your cargo to reach its destination, or its passenger to reach its destination as fast as physically possible, because basically that earns you more money. Obviously, it costs you a little bit more, so faster vehicles cost more to run, but in general, the faster you can get your cargo or your passengers to their destination, the more profit you're going to make. So what I'm going to do is upgrade some of the bits of road like this. I know it's only 40 miles per hour, but it will make a difference. So I'm going to upgrade this. Obviously, with player ownership on no, so we're upgrading this, but we're not taking ownership of the road because you don't have to pay for the maintenance. The only slight issue with doing this, as we are in the year 2000, and I would suggest anything past 1970, is cars. So basically private vehicles start to become an issue. So because I've made this road faster, people are more inclined to drive between the 2 towns. So the faster the road, obviously the more private vehicles that you'll see on that road, which will start to become a little bit of an issue, which you just have to take into account for. I'll just upgrade that. We're not going to be getting up to any sort of speed on that, but we just want to be making sure our vehicles are going as fast as physically possible to maximize that profit. But at the same time, we don't want to own the road because we'll have to pay for it. And we'll take a look at what I mean by that. So if I go to our expenses, you see maintenance of vehicles, that's costing us X amount. Maintenance of roads, we are paying a small amount for some roads. I'm not sure which roads we're actually paying for. It might be these little tiny roads that just connect the depots, or perhaps something else. But if I'd taken ownership of these roads, then we would have been paying a heck of a lot more. And you can see the maintenance of infrastructure as well. We're paying like £37,000 a year just to maintain these little depots that we've got. So try and keep the number of depots down as small as you can, as few as you can, and just try to keep your infrastructure spend as low as possible. I think this one we possibly, there's that truck, we might be able to get away with. How much money have we got? We've got another, I think we'll just clone one of these. And how much grain have we got going on? We've got quite a bit of grains being stored. Not quite at the stage, I don't think, where we're dumping anymore, which is good. Yeah, that's all looking good. Just going to wait until I've got £700,000, then I'm going to put one more truck on. We've got quite a bit of food being produced now, which is all good. Yeah, you can see, I think you can see already, like, the marked increase in traffic. You've got all these private vehicles holding up our trucks. Well, they will eventually, particularly at junctions and things like that. You know, it really does start to impede our vehicles, but we can get around that later on. We don't need to worry about it too much. The biggest issue is at the entrances to towns and things like this, where you've got quite a few junctions and you can get your vehicles being held up. But yeah, we're looking all right at the minute. How much money have we got? We've got enough money for one more truck, which is just going to earn us more profit. Can I see? Don't suppose we're going to get a like-for-like comparison, are we, of profits? Oh yeah, I don't know, but we have been adding vehicles. I was just trying to demonstrate like the speed of the vehicles in terms of profit making, but it's safe to say that having faster roads makes your vehicles faster and therefore you get more profit. We could upgrade these to an asphalt 2 lane at 60, but I just want to keep costs down as low as possible for the minute. So that's all looking good. Food's being produced. Grain is now reaching, I think, still got quite a lot. I would suggest it's about to reach equilibrium with the amount being produced versus the amount we're taking away. Let's have a look at our shipments. Yeah, transport, almost 96% or 98% of product being produced is being transported. So that is our equilibrium has been met. And now we're, how much we, £1 million a year from that. So we are producing money quite quickly now. This possibly not so much. So the next thing we need to be aware of is shipping products out. This is where closing the supply chain or completing the supply chain is important, because basically if we ship more product to different towns, then basically it will mean that the processor will upgrade to the next level, which means it produces more product, which means we can put more trucks on, supply more towns, and it all just feeds into itself. So if we don't ship the produce that this is producing, then basically it won't be upgraded, and basically we can't chuck any more trucks on it, and we can't say, for example, the farms produce 200 grain, let's call it. That's the most they're ever going to produce, but this will go up to about I think it's about 800, something like that. So what we can do is we can take produce from other farms and feed it into this food processing plant, so we can have loads of trucks running in here into this one food processing plant. And what it means, we can ship lots of food out to the likes of Mansfield and Winsford and Solihull and Bolton as well, you know. So it's important that we encourage the food processing plants or the factories to be upgraded, basically, and we do that by shipping out their products. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense. Basically, they're not going to upgrade if we just supply it with grain. Basically, we need to be shipping their products that they produce in order to encourage them to upgrade at some point. We're shipping 62% at the minute of what's being produced, apparently, which possibly I just don't want to put too many more trucks on. Again, it's all about balance. You want to be putting enough trucks on to encourage the factory to upgrade, but you don't want trucks going empty just for the sake of it. So it is a tricky balancing act. Where's that the truck arriving? Yeah, he's going to go out pretty full. I think I'm going to leave it as it is with 3 trucks at the minute. And also something just to note, this requires 2 grain for every 1 bread or 1 food to be produced. So for every production 100 to 120, not sure how that's possible. For every 100 food being produced, it needs 200 grain coming from this farm here. So we're going to need grain from the likes of this farm here being fed in just to produce 200. So 400 grain going in, 200 food going out. So yeah, that's what these icons mean. It just means the amount of things going in to produce the amount of things going out. So 2-to-1 ratio on that there. But as you can see, we are making money. Not loads of money, but it's enough to allow us to put additional trucks on or to upgrade additional routes. Yeah, you can see we've got a little bit of an equilibrium going on with that. That's fine. So I think I'll leave it there, because we are making money and that's what I set out to do. I'm not making mega bucks, but it's enough in order for us to expand our operation and to start thinking about doing other things. So hopefully I've explained some of the key points there. Hopefully I've demonstrated that it is possible to make money even if you start in the game later on, like in the year 2000s. Even with everything being more expensive, just have to do it with trucks. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Say until next time, bye bye.